What's up, y'all? What's good? Welcome to the What Up Doe Show. It's your boy Dame D, and today we're going to be joined with a few young ladies on the panel with us. I'll allow each guest to introduce themselves to the show.
All right, I am DJ Shawnee D. I am a regular on the What Up Show. I hope everybody's doing blessed. I hope everybody's drinking their water. But today's show is a beautiful show for me, for sure, because I got one of my very best friends. We have been running these streets for 35 years, okay? And we have came out the game and we're retired now. So now we can talk. But my friend Dorinda Peterson, co-founder of Elite Squads Incorporated and actually owner of DNA Skills for Life. How are
Yes.
you, Dorinda? Explain
I,
to the people.
I,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but explain to the people a little bit about Elite Squad and what Elite.
okay, I would love to. Elite Squad is a social and advocacy group for adults living with cognitive disabilities. And so we advocate and we make these social connections for individuals with disabilities. So it's a passion and I love it. And so, but I'm happy to be on the show and I'm going to keep it 100. And so thank you for having me.
There we
Yeah,
go.
the
Well,
one
thank
thing I
you. And
love about Elite, I'm sorry, one thing I love about Elite Squad is that you take people with like Down syndrome and you have like real adult parties for them, like a real prom where they get to dress up and flirt with each other and all that. And I think
No,
that's so dope because we don't
thank
see
you.
that.
That's what we do. We trying to bring awareness on how people can engage because
Mm,
they are grown and we need to start treating them as such. Just because they have a disability, they have the same desires
yes,
and
they do. If
aberration
not
as
more
we
so.
do. So
Yeah,
thank
for
you for
sure.
having me.
Yeah. Okay, Damon, I'm sorry.
no, you good. First and foremost, I want to thank you, Dorinda, for coming on to the show. It's a pleasure. And DJ Shiny D needs no introduction. She's a present guest of the What Up Doe Show. So today we're going to be discussing is cheating ever justified? And this is a good conversation. And this is something that needs to be talked about and that needs to be heard. A lot of men probably would shy away from this conversation. So thus far, that's why it's just me. So we waiting on a few people that may or may not show up. But DJ Shiny D, let's go ahead and get the show started. I have a few questions. That I do have jotted down, but for the most part, we just gonna go with the flow.
All right, cool, cool. So, do I think cheating is ever justified? I would have to say no, because I don't know a situation for real where you usually cheat because you're not happy or you feel like you're missing out or you feel like you're not getting something, or maybe you just cannot turn down temptation.
Right.
Whatever it is, you don't have to be there. You don't have to be in the marriage. You can leave the marriage. Matter of fact, I know cheaters that just got engaged. Why are you getting engaged, Negro? If you are a cheater and you're not trying to fix yourself. So I say no, no cheating is ever justified. And somebody can come up with something, I'll listen. But
Well, I kind of I'm gonna say two things. I'm a reformed cheater, so I'm reformed because I'm married.
There you
But
go.
speaking from someone who has cheated, if anyone looking at this show that I have done wrong, I apologize, but I am reformed.
Okay.
Um, but I think cheating is justified in one instance.
okay.
And for me, I think it's justified when because a lot of men, some men who overly cheat, a lot of times they are gay, and I'm gonna say that. And I think that only, and I'm not saying a woman should stay with that person, but it exposes their sexuality in most cases. And so, and that's the only time I think cheating is justified. And if that's the case, a lot of time it has nothing to do with you. Men who are living a double life have a tendency to try to fill that void. And
Wait a minute.
and I
Explain to
think
me.
at that point, I think at that point it's justified. And then
Okay,
that
wait a minute.
justification
Explain.
doesn't mean you should stay. It just means that it's giving you an avenue to be exposed.
Now,
And
before
sometimes
we
you
go
need to be exposed.
any further, I want you to go over one of the things that you said. You said most about the men that may be gay, that's overly that overly cheats. Or what? Can you repeat that? What you said about the men being gay?
Sometimes, I found from my experience that a lot of times men who are living a double life cheat because they're trying to fill that void,
Okay.
because they secretly desire men. And when
Mm.
you see a man that's trying not to have an affair with another man, he have a constant need to have sex with a woman to fill that void. That's what
Wow.
I'm saying. For
Yeah,
me,
I've never
that's
heard it
that's
in
the
that
case.
perspective, but a lot of men probably would that's probably on the down low would probably disagree with that. You know what I mean? Because that's you know, that's kind of it's kind of I'm not gonna say true what you're saying, but that's kind of like getting I can't find the word for that, but a lot of men would probably be offended by that. You know
Well,
what?
Yeah.
well, they probably would be offended because they don't want to live in a dialogue, living
Right,
your
right.
truth.
No, and it
Because
definitely was a
I
good answer. That's why I wanted you to elaborate a little bit more on that. But BJ3, welcome to the show. I don't know if
Thank
you
you.
know
Thank you.
today's
Hey,
topic,
hey.
but we're going to be discussing is cheating ever justified? And like we were saying earlier, Reese just brought up a great answer to what DJ Shiny D had brought up, and it was about, she said sometimes men overly cheat or cheat a lot, because they're hiding something, and a lot of them may be gay, but we're talking about, is cheating ever justified? So give me your opinion on what you think, elaborate on today's topic.
I would say it depends on, you know, who's answering the question. Of course, the person that's doing the cheating is gonna say that it's justified for whatever reason that they're doing it. But uh, will the person that they're cheating on, will they say that it was justified? So I would say it just depends on who's answering that question. But ultimately, the overall answer, I would say, is no.
Okay. And and we've all been down that road. We've all been in relationships where where we made mistakes and we may have went out and cheated, but cheating comes in all different types of varieties. People cheat
Right.
for different
True.
type of reasons, emotional reasons, sexual reasons. Your woman, some men have a mass desire to have sex, and some of the main reasons that men may go out and cheat. Some of the reasons that that they're not sexual at home, they're not getting exactly what they're desired at home. So I want to ask you that question, BJ3. Can you can you elaborate on that? Do you think a lot of men go out and cheat because and I'm not going to even say excuses, because most of the time when women say these things, they're justified. I'm tired, or I got a headache, or those are excuses that women use to get out of having sex with men. So elaborate on that. Why do you think men go out and cheat as much as they do? Or just give me your elaborate on that. My bad. I'm mixing myself
I,
up.
All right.
you get them. You can get it if you get it. Those are for me. But I think that yeah, that's what it is. Man.
I hear a lot of your background too, BJ3.
I'm moving. All right, here we go. So I agree with what you said, but ultimately,
Because not
it's a
to cut you
decision.
off, because that's the number one reason men may say that they go out and cheat is because lack of intimacy.
Yeah, our sex drive is sometimes is not matched, evenly matched, and that's one of the things. Like you kind of gotta vet one of the things when you dating to see, what her drive is. That's when you're trying to figure out if you're gonna be with this person, you need to know if she's willing to, give you what you need in that area. And all what you marriage, married people know something. It's a 70-30 rule. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you're getting 70% of what you want, and that 30% falls within the non-sexual, then you have to make a decision because you mess around and you cheat, and then you lose that 70% for somebody that was giving you 15% of what you really need. Now that person not gonna fulfill everything else, but sexually you could sexually, but you can't have a conversation and they can't cook, they can't do this, they can't do that, whatever the other things that you need. So, time too, what I'm saying? Like when you're younger, your sex drive is different than when you get older. So, you know, all that matters. All that
Right.
matters. All that matters.
And I guess I'll
Yeah,
ask the
but
ladies that go ahead, Dorinda.
yeah, but it's I think it's a little bit more complex, because I'm a reformed cheater. And it wasn't always about sex. Sometimes it was just about me being selfish.
Right.
wanting
In what you
wanting
want.
what I want when I wanted it. And so and even though that person could be doing everything that I need, but when you and I'm coming from a perspective of just being a selfish individual.
Mm,
And
Right.
sometimes when you're a selfish individual, it has nothing to do with what that person ain't giving you at home. A lot of times you just selfish and you want what you want because the opportunity is there.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
Dorinda,
That
I
makes
Hey,
love
sense.
your point of view. You know what? You're straight up
That makes
honest. I
sense.
love
You know, I
I
can't.
love your talk back.
I'm old enough to tell you that I've done it, and it was just strictly because I was selfish. I've had men that was very good to me, and I'm just a selfish individual, and I wanted what I wanted when I wanted it, and I didn't know how to not like if I had Tim and Jim, I wanted Tim and Jim.
and that's the sandwich.
Right.
You know what
Well,
that
I want
And
to ask you that same question, DJ Shiny D. Do you
you
think
know,
when men come to their spouses or their girlfriends and in this days that you women are tired from doing a lot of things, from being mothers, raising the kids, and you are tired, or you're going through certain things, so do you think that justifies, when your man, especially if you have a man that's hyperly over sexualized, or that just need to have sex all the time,
hot
so
drop.
when most women say these things, most men look at that like that's a reason for them to go out and cheat, and a lot of reasons just come from just a lack of you know what's the word I'm looking for, just a lack of uh
Intimacy,
yeah, a lack of intimacy,
affection.
and just all of the above, so DJ Shiny D, I want you to elaborate on that. Most men will use that as an excuse to go out and cheat. You know what I mean? When the wife or the spouse say, "I'm tired" or "I have a headache," and those are reasons that why most men go out and cheat. And a lot of men won't admit that. So like Dorinda said, I'm here to be up straight, honest. For men, and I'm glad I got BJ3 here. So elaborate on that, DJ Shiny D. When women say that and men go out and cheat, how do you feel about that? About just that excuse right there, I should say.
Well, like I'm gonna use your words. When men use that excuse, that's your word. You just said, okay. So my question
Because
always,
at
because
the
I
end of
got a
the
lot
day,
of,
they're all excuses. We know right from
they
wrong.
are
You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to
because
come up with reasons and why men do what we do.
well, let me tell you this. I got a lot of guy friends, and my thing is when they I know the cheaters because I know all their business, right? And so like I said, I got a friend that just got engaged, and he the biggest hoe I know for real. And my question is, she already don't give you enough sex. You've said that.
Right.
So why are you engaged to this woman?
It's
You
gonna
know
be
what I mean? Why
worse.
why are you engaged? You don't have to be here. You don't have to be there. Or maybe you could just leave it the way it is, where you're single and she's single. That's the problem. That's where it comes is the part that she's single too. See, they marry. I think believe that married men get locked. They get married. I mean, men get married to lock that woman down, not to lock themselves down. but to lock her down. That's
That's
just how.
being, isn't that being selfish? That's
I mean,
selfish.
yeah, I mean, in the fact that yeah, it's being kind of selfish, but I kind of agree with DJ Shiny D saying we want to lock a woman down, and and some men want to have they ice cream and cake and eat it too, in those
That's still
words.
selfish.
Well, guess
It's
what? It
selfish.
ain't fun. It ain't
It's
no fun
selfish.
if it ain't a party. I'm gonna come to your party and I don't get to have cake too.
Why
And
can't
that's
you have your cake?
exact. And see, that used to be my stance. That's not my stance anymore. When I was younger, my thing is I gotta get you back because you gonna have to eat them words you just told me, and you gonna see how it feels to hear that bullshit that you just told me. Okay, so I'm out of that stage of my
Right.
life now.
Well, I
I
wouldn't say.
wouldn't.
Go ahead, DJ.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that nowadays. But
Right.
at one time, it was what was good for the goose wasn't good for the gander.
Right.
And so, so to me, cheating is never justified unless I give you permission to go
Then it's
out
not
there and
cheating.
do your thing.
It ain't cheating
That,
then. That's the case.
Yeah, that's it's
Right.
not. It's
Right.
yeah.
That's an open
Yeah,
relationship.
that's an open relationship.
Right.
well, then guess what? Then no, it is never justified.
Right. And I would say it's never justified. And most would say no. And some would say yes, and those who would say yes would most likely be the ones who were cheated on. You know what I mean? And it's just like what you
But
were saying.
what,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. To add to what y'all was just saying, that was an open relationship. I do have a circle of friends that are in open relationships. And the one thing they will say is even though they're in the open relationships, there are boundaries and guidelines. And you can overstep your boundaries in that open relationship, which it will become cheating. Because if you don't follow the rules of that open relationship, it could be cheating.
Right.
Well, that's why they say
I got
you should never let anyone in your bedroom because in most cases we can't handle that. In
Mm-mm.
most cases, it's always going to be somebody who can do it a little bit better than your mate, and then you cross in a dangerous zone when you give someone permission to cheat on you, or when you give someone permission to say, "I can accept this open relationship." Because I'm gonna tell you, men can't accept their wives having
no,
sex with another man. That's
Yeah.
why
no.
we're talking from their perspective of cheating, because most women, we cheat and we do it very well.
Right. See, and
Correct.
I was just getting ready to hit on that, Dorinda. Most men
And
will
y'all do it
enter.
for different reasons.
Yeah, most men will end a relationship if they found out that their girlfriend or their spouse have cheated on them. And that's one
It's
thing
too
that
much.
it's
Can't
hard to
handle it.
that I really can't explain that situation. You know what I mean? Because men, we can go out and cheat, and we expect for our women to take us back. Time after time, but when it's on the other shoe around, most men can't handle and deal with that situation. So, I want you to
Mhm.
elaborate on that, BJ3. Why is it that?
Hey, I can't answer why it's everybody's psyche is different, but I can tell you that our thought processes are just different. It's
Right.
like the way, and I try to explain this to my wife, and whatever, it don't go nowhere. But I'm like,
Mhm.
sex is like, I would say, if you ask me, do you want do you want to me to if I want you to fix a plate for me, or if I want you to be ready for me when I come home sexually, then the answer gonna always be I'll fix my own plate. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll take that before food. So like that's the level of importance to me. So it's if it's not the same, then we're not gonna be on the on the same page. And it's just how it is. It's like okay, that priority for me is like again, I'd rather you not feed me, but make sure that you love me. You know what I'm saying? Like so
A love hungry.
it's just you know what I'm saying? Like it's just different. And then I think also too with with age, like we still kind of have the same sex drive. I mean, we can't do the same thing we did when we was in the 20s, but we still want it as much as we did in our 20s. And I'm not a female, so I don't know, but it just seemed like with y'all things get a little different and with time and it's like not today or not right now, or blah blah blah. You have other, things change. But for us, our sex drive is the same. From 19 to 49, 59. I ain't 59, but I still want to try to get in it as often as I can. So
But it's
with
making
her,
your plate not intimate. See,
say it again.
I say
It's
it's making your plate not intimacy.
No, I need love it. I need to love it. I can fix my own
and
plate.
and
I can fix my own plate.
BJ3 just said something that was kind of important. Women do think differently. We need intimacy. Where you guys
Yeah,
can just come home and jump in it.
get it
We
right. Yeah, you're
we
right.
we
You,
we our mindset is like
you got to
we
groom
we
it.
need that foreplay, that conversation.
Yes.
You
Yes.
blowing in my ear. You kiss
Right.
you walk through the door and kiss me on my neck and then spank me on my ass. We need
Right.
that intimacy. We need to feel love at all times, but we got to
Right.
feel that connection because
Right.
Right.
when you reach a certain age, and that's how women cheat. Women, when a woman is lacking intimacy in her relationship, she's gonna stray. Especially
Right.
when a man to come in and pop game, she makes
Right.
straight. Even if
Right.
she loves
Right.
her husband, she makes straight because you have to be connected in that relationship some kind of way. And intimacy is a way to connect. Intimacy is not always sex
Right.
with a woman.
Right.
Intimacy
Right.
is when I'm having a hard day. I
Right.
need you to sit down and listen to me and rub my legs or my feet or my hand and let me know it's okay.
Right.
And I
You know
think
Yes.
That's
what? And I'm agree
and
with
to
you
add
100%, Dorinda, because if
Yep.
most men came home to a woman like that, um, who would talk to them first, rub their feet, see how their day was going, because most of the times, us men, we go through a lot through the workday and come home, stressed out. And that's the last thing we want to do is come home and, be beefed out with our significant other. So, you kind of said something. Most men probably do go out and cheat because of lack of intimacy at home, not just with sex, it's just having that conversation. How was your day, baby? How was your day going? Stuff like that, rubbing your feet, and just making sure, before you actually, doing the things to put, each other in the mood. You know what I mean? So I think a lack of, just conversation, intimacy, leads to all these things that we're talking about, why people go out and cheat.
absolutely.
So
I
give
think
Dorinda, give young men or young women who's watching this and listening to, what did you do to be able to stop being a cheater, to come out of that, atmosphere, out of that world, I should say.
I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna
Yeah,
keep it real. It's having more. I'm just gonna keep it 100. Having more. The older I got, I met someone who made me decide that I didn't want to hurt him.
right.
Right.
And I had to reframe because still now when a man walk by and he smell good, that just I'm like, oh, you know, but I have to reframe because I'm responsible for another human being, which is my husband.
Right.
And
Right.
and I had never been married. So now I'm married. So I have a responsibility to make sure I don't hurt him because he take care of our household and he do it very well. But it
Exactly.
took someone for me, it took someone that I looked at and said, you know what, I got respect for you. You take care of me, you take care of my son. You come home every night, you pay the bills, you do this and that. So why would I jeopardize and not be that peace you need? So
Exactly.
you can be the peace I need. And so that's kind of what but I want to say something that a guy told me a long time ago when I was throwing myself on the ground because I was hurt. I called myself being hurt. And he said he taught me something. He said, I want you to understand this. A man give love to get sex and a woman gives sex to get love. And that changed my
Mm,
perspective on
wow.
how I looked at sex and relationships because
Right.
he was trying to tell me, don't be fooled. A man will give you everything you need just to get between your legs. And then once you lose control or once you forget about who you are, he's gone to the left because that's all he wanted.
Mm,
You don't share everything you wanted from everything you need from a man. A lot of times women do a lot of pillow talk.
right.
And through that pillow talk, men have a tendency to say, okay, I'm gonna give you that. But you're still not my wife. You're not the one that I want to be with because I got Jane over here that I'm married to, or I got Susan over here that I really want to be with. So we kind of have to recognize and for a lot of women, look at what a man does, not what he says.
All right.
Because a man will show you who he is.
Well, I want to ask you another question before we go on to DJ Shiny D. Well, once she does that and does give him the sex, how is she able to keep that man? You know what I mean? Through all that.
When it depends on the stage of that person, and it depends on how much power you give up. If you give a man all your power, and I'm gonna say this. I was telling the friend,
and the reason, and not to cut you off, and the reason why I asked you that, because it's important, because for young women who may be watching this, because and I even talked to my young daughter, my 26-year-old daughter, about this situation. Do not give your man, no man who's not willing to commit to you, don't be laying down with different men, man to man to man. You make him commit to you, before you lay down with him. So, that's why I want to ask you that question for young women who may be watching this, who may be thinking about laying down with a man, let them know, like, once they do lay down with him, what are the things that they need to do to be able to keep this man?
I don't get that.
You don't gave up. I'm sorry, Shawnee. You don't gave up your power, number one.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna tell I tell young girls this one thing. A man, if he ain't paying where he land, he don't want you.
Right.
And if a man is not really looking out for you or making sure you come first in a relationship, or you don't have no standards, and the only thing you require is for him to come to your house and lay up, that's what he's going to do. You have given up your power. Right. Don't give up your power for no man. Know who you are as a woman. Now, if you're a sexual being and that's what you like, own it. Don't expect nothing from it and keep it moving. Right. But if you're a woman that's looking for love in looking for love in all the wrong places, and you think giving up sex is going to get you that love, no, it's not. Know who you are, own your power, and be okay with being alone. If you want a husband, you have to first be the person you're looking for.
Right. See, and I think that's the answer that these young women need to hear, because we typically hear about, especially in these ages and times, a lot of cheating, pretty much it's the norm, in today's society. You know what I mean? So DJ Shiny D, go ahead and elaborate on that.
Well, first, I want to go back to what we were talking. I have 2 points. I'm going to go back to what we were saying earlier. I think that an important conversation, I always believe in having the hard conversations, the things that are uncomfortable to talk about. But I think that defining your definition of intimacy is important to have with your partner, because you guys may be saying the same word and mean two different things. Right. It's some nasty people out there that do some nasty shit to get off. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so you need to know if that's what they're expecting from you. Right. You know what I mean? Especially if I'm not into that kind of stuff, or whatever. But also, I think that just stop putting making something a permanent relationship that you don't have permanent intentions for.
Right.
That's my whole thing. Stop getting married if you can't turn down temptation. Right. If you can't turn down temptation, just stay single. I think that women, I try to think as a woman, what's most important to me? If a provider is more important to me, then I might not go to him for intimacy because he's a provider. He's doing something on this that's making me feel comfortable. So I don't have a problem with going somewhere else for intimacy because I'm still gonna come home to provider. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Just like men will go out and they will have fun and they will play, but they gonna come home to home. You know what I mean? They gonna
See, and not to cut you off, because men, we can go out and sleep around without having any emotions, with that woman at all, and come home, and like nothing ever happened, and be that same loving husband or boyfriend to our wives or girlfriends. You know what I mean? So I don't know why that is, but BJ3, can you elaborate on that?
Need some
So
help.
I like what Miss Dorinda was saying. She hit it. She hit it. And I never really thought about it like that, but when you think about it, it's 100% right. When you doing those acts, um, it's a selfish act. You just
Facts.
because, like you said, even if that 70%, when I was talking about that 70/30, your wife, she do this, she do that. You want her to be there. You want that's the one you want to take care of, but you don't want to keep getting into it over not getting none, or you don't want to keep asking and getting told no. That's not good for your self-esteem. So you just be like, all right, you know what, I ain't gonna bother. I'm gonna just bang some before I go home type of thing.
All right.
So that's a selfish act because instead of communicating with her, like, hey, I'm getting to a point that, I'm not feeling the intimacy that I need. Like she said, that females, they need that conversation. I can't come home and just, take her clothes off. I do. She 100% right. Everything she said was right. I got
All
to
right.
sit down. I got to listen to her day. And when she
Because
asks me
it's
about my
here.
day, I'm like,
It's here.
I don't want to talk about my day, but I'm down. I know now, through time, I need to listen to hers. But my day is like, oh, it's another day, the same old crap, whatever, whatever. But I need, but for me to get home and get where I need by the end of the night, I got to come home, sit on the couch, and listen to her day.
Foreplay.
That I got to do that. And if she throw her feet on me, of course, I'm gonna take care of them joints. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, intimacy is different. Like it physical. I want to touch and I want to feel it. I want smell it, taste it, all that, all that, all that. But for her, like you said, I gotta listen to what happened. What happened? She said what? And what? Hey, you gotta do that, and you gotta pay attention because she may switch the players on you. You gotta know that she done switched it up. Like, oh, that's not. Oh, yeah. So you gotta play. It's things that you gotta do to get to what you want. And I think sometimes with a marriage, people get comfortable and they figure, I got this provider, I got this female, I got whatever it is that they have, and you don't do those things that you did before. And I think that's important because
Right.
your significant other. Again, for guys, we pretty much the same roadmap that we had when we was 1920. If she look at the checklist of what you like and what you don't like is pretty much the same. And I can tell you from experience with my wife, all her stuff has changed. Her favorite food, her favorite candy, her favorite juices over the last 20 years, that stuff
Right.
changed. So I
Yeah.
gotta stay up on what it is that she didn't change it into. That it's a moving, you're hitting a moving target. But if this is the choice that you made, this is the person that you decided to be with, then that's your job to find out. Yeah, her candy changed, but I wouldn't known that if I got her the candy I thought she liked, and she
That's
said, well,
right.
yeah, I used to like this a whole lot, but I had a nightmare about this. I forgot a true story. I had a nightmare about this story about this candy. I was eating the candy and it turned into worms. And I'm like, I just spent all this money in my head. I just spent, we're on vacation and these candies not even offered in that country. And I had it shipped and all this and all that and find out those ain't even her favorite candies no more. So
Because
it's
they
like, all right, I
weren't.
can't be I can't
Yeah.
be mad, but now I just gotta learn okay, baby, then what is the gosh dang candy that you feeling right now? You know what
Can
I'm
I
saying?
Okay.
So I
ask
can make sure I get that
Right.
I
right.
can
can I
say that.
ask you two a question? I'm
Go
just
ahead.
Yep, bring it.
Oh,
curious
I got some.
because I love the fact that BJ3 is sharing and open to because I can see that he loves his wife.
Yeah.
How many? I just want to ask you guys, how often do you guys create date night? Like make time for like a date? Like how often do you come and say you have everything set up and you have date night for your wife?
I'll allow you to go ahead, BJ3.
So you say create date night, meaning I set everything up, or create date night meaning okay, this day, this week, we're gonna get together, we're gonna
You
do some
set
things.
everything up and you tell her meet Friday. Don't worry
Mm-hmm.
about it. We got something going on. And you
Mm.
set everything up and you do it a date night of everything that she wants as far as what you understand. How often have you guys done that for your wives?
Well, you hurt. That hurt. Cause I'm gonna tell you, my date night. Now that listen to you, my date nights might be a little selfish because, like, cause we both off on Saturdays, so date night to me mean, okay, baby, what you want to eat, and she just figure it out, and I'm a cook, so I don't have no problem with that.
Oh,
So if she wants steak or whatever, then I'll fix it. But the date part is gonna be boxing, and that's gonna be in 10 minutes. So I'm gonna have to go in a minute because some fights coming on. So she
oh,
already know at 7 o'clock. It's gonna be boxing, but whatever else she want for the rest of the night, she can get it. She can get it.
Can I challenge you to see how I'm just curious and maybe I would like to know? Email me. You say 7 o'clock is boxing, right?
Yes, ma'am.
One time, just flip it and let it be about her.
I mean, I'm
And
gonna tell you this.
see,
Let me tell you this. Every night when I come home, she pick whatever we watch. I sit next to her, I listen to her, and whatever's on the TV, she pick it. Saturdays, if it's fights, then we watching fights.
flip
yeah.
it.
But
Just
but every night though, every night she pick it. I flip it 6 days out the week.
no, no,
Saturdays
no,
is
no, no,
just
no.
my
No, I'm talking about doing some. I get you guys have a great routine, and I love it. I really love it. But I'm telling you, as a woman, sometimes
okay.
we need that.
Everything catered for you.
Just something
Just something
special.
out of the norm.
Yeah,
Out of
out
the
of the
right.
norm. And sometimes we need to know that you thought of, we need a thought, not
Yeah.
that routine so much. We love the routine because you home with us. But
Right.
sometimes we just need that something like walking through the door and all the lights are off and it's none but candles and roses and the night is just about pampering her. I'm just asking you to flip it and let it be about her on a night when it's about you.
Right. Now I agree
Right.
with you. Now I want to give my opinion on
Okay.
your more my answer on your question. And before I
Go
do
ahead,
that, I
David.
want to say at the end of the day, most relationships, most people probably go out and cheat, because the lack of intimacy, conversations that they're having at home with their significant other or their girlfriend, and for me, it leads us to go out and stray and try to find those things. Elsewhere, I should say, and then at the end of the day, this is the number one reason people forget they vows that they made with the Lord and God Himself, so we've been
So
Right.
getting
true.
away from those ways, and that's the number one thing. I've been sitting here listening to everything that you guys have been saying, and I kind of had a script written down and I've totally, went away from that. But at the end of the day, it's all about most men and the women too. We forgetting about our vows and the promise that we made to God and to our significant others. And that's leading. And then today's social media, everything.
Right.
And just seeing all this shit that we see on social media with the women with these BBLs and these, especially with the young men today. And these women. Just how they're protruding around and just just provocative, so it leads to a lot of men doing things that they would normally do and then just not really just having no respect for themselves, at the end of the day, and just well, I'm not going to even say respect for themselves, but just having a lack of respect, and then at the end of the day, like I said, it's just we're not sticking to our vows, to what we committed and said to God in the beginning when we first met that person. So I think a lot of this stuff could be prevented, at the end of the day, if we stuck to our vows and did what we were supposed to do, because like I said, social media has been putting so much stuff in front of us to the point where cheating has become a norm for a lot of people. And we have
So
not been
okay.
putting our vows and God first, so I'll allow you guys to elaborate on that. What you think about that,
Can I say something?
DJ Shiny D?
Please. I've been waiting real patiently on my fingers.
Go
Okay.
ahead, bring it up.
All right. All right. First of all, a few things you said bugged the shit out of me. That's just because I am. But you never once said I fucked up or I was the problem. You said women lead men.
No, well, I wasn't
Yeah,
trying to say, I wasn't putting it on women or anyone per se. I was just saying the reasons why most men go out and cheat, because of the things that we see most men see on social media. And social media has a lot to do with what's going on in
You
today's
know,
society where people out here cheating. It makes it a lot easier for people to go out and cheat.
I get it,
Go
but
ahead, DJ
that's
Shawnee
still
D. Not to interrupt you, but go
only
ahead.
it's still not taking ownership of your actions. And you're still putting it on social media. They're influenced by this. I fucked up.
Amen.
At the end of
Amen.
the day, you did. That's why I said people are getting away from their vows. Go ahead.
You know what I mean? And so I got another question. I see BJ3 gone, but I want to ask you. One of my biggest pet peeves is a penis in the back when I'm trying to sleep. I swear to God, it is. Can
Well,
you
he
come
trying to
up
he trying to tell you
with
something.
can y'all come up with a better way of maybe, set the fire alarm off, wake her up or something, like me, wake her up for real.
DJ
Hey,
Shawnee
hey,
D. DJ
fuck that.
Shawnee. That's
No,
the
I'm
best
like,
part. That's the
I'm
best.
like,
That's the
man,
best
So
alarm
you don't
clock
like
you can
feeling nothing
ever.
man,
hard up on your
tell
back?
me,
Is that what
tell
you're saying,
me.
DJ Shawnee D?
It's okay sometimes, but when
Just
it
stay
is
sleep, Sonny D. Stay
because
sleep.
so
That's what I be
listen,
saying. Stay
when
sleep.
it is because your penis
Just
is
lift your leg
hard
up.
at 4 o'clock in the morning. You got up to go pee, and your
Right.
penis is hard now. So now I
Yeah.
have to wake up.
Yeah.
Out
No, don't wake up. Just lift your leg up. Just lift your leg up. You ain't gotta wake up.
That's usually what
I'm gonna go to
happens.
sleep. I'm gonna go back to sleep. You go back to sleep. We can all go back to sleep in about five,
DJ
10 minutes.
DJ Shawnee D. That's the best alarm clock you can
Woo.
have.
Not when I got to work in the morning, maybe on a Saturday or
That
something.
sure start your day off right.
Man, that's what I say. Ooh-wee.
That's
So
We do some
great.
planning.
Well, for men, that early morning sometimes be the best.
It's the Hey, let
I
me
get
tell you,
it,
it's,
but
it's
you
all
already
natural.
know. And your wife
Exactly.
He
Oh,
said the vitamin D is all natural.
And
It's all it's
I want to
ready.
ask you. I want to ask you,
It's
ladies,
ready.
this question. Have social media has been making it hard. With this honey, all these
You want to
ads
come
and
out?
everything that you
What
just
up?
been
Come
seeing
on then.
throughout these commercials and social media. What just everything that
what's
you've been
funny?
seeing out here with the women, even with some of the men. That they advertising around here. That's doing commercials for. I'll just keep it on that with the honey packs and just different things that
What is
men
the
can do to try to
what's the
to
honey?
satisfy their women
I've been
or
thinking about
women, I
trying
should
that.
say.
Y'all
What's a
tried that honey pack?
Say that again.
what's
Anybody
the
tried it? I said, anybody tried the honey
Uh,
pack? I've been looking at it.
Damon,
what
I
is
didn't hear your question. What was the question?
No, I was just saying to DJ Shiny D, like, do you guys think that, all the things that we see on social media with the ads, with even with the men and the women been doing certain ads with the honey packs, with certain
what
things
is it?
that men can do, tricks to make themselves harder or larger, certain
Oh,
things that women can take. They even have honey packs for women. So I think
mm,
a lot of this stuff that we're watching, it's kind of like adding to the discussion that we're talking about what men and women going out to cheat. Because I think back back in our days, we didn't have this social media. We didn't see a lot of this. We wasn't able to connect and meet with different people, like how you able to do now. You know what I mean? So I guess what I mean is a lot of this stuff that's getting put in our faces, has a lot to do with men and women going out to cheat also. And I'm not at the end of the day, it's on each individual who goes out there and make that make that decision on their own. I'm not taking that away. Each person has to own up to what they're doing as an individual when they go out there and cheat. But I guess this is in the biblical words I should
text.
say, things that they're going to put certain things in front of you. They're going to portray certain things in front of you, like with the TV and things that we're seeing in social media, and like I said, it's been leading for a lot of our youth, a lot of older men and women out here to cheat
Well,
is what I'm trying to say.
I've never heard of the honey pack, but I will do my research. But
Yeah,
I think
Well, not even a honey
I
pack. For the older people in your, and I don't know how old you are, but you got the Cialises, you got the Viagra, and I think those were the things that were
It's
leading
different.
up to a lot of older men going out and
I,
cheating.
well, I think if to be honest, I think for those who are searching, a lot of times you want to experience those things with your mate and to spice up your bedroom a little bit. I don't know if they necessarily lead people to cheat, but it seems like some of those are just more so you can spice up your relationship and
Okay.
for you not to go out and cheat
Right. Well,
because
that's
some
why
men
I wanted to
have.
ask you guys that question. That's why I
So
want to
I
ask
don't.
you that.
For me, my opinion, I don't think things that I see on the social media push me to cheat. It actually pushes me to try to
Try some stuff.
spice
Right.
up and try
Right.
something different,
Right.
and
With your
Hmm.
to
spouse.
enhance our experiences
Right.
Push it.
behind closed doors.
Right. Well, you know, at the end of the
Mhm.
day, propaganda kind of leads people to do things that they would normally do. So that's why I was kind of asking you guys that question. Do you think, a lot of stuff that we may see on TV ads with the Cialises and the honey packs, do a lot of that stuff leads to, what the conversation and the discussion that we're having now? So
Yeah,
that's
Me,
all I
I
meant with
agree with
that.
her. I agree with her. I don't think that those enhancers um, set up for cheating. I think back to what she said. That's the cheating part is the selfish act.
Okay.
Being able to last longer or stronger is really supposed to be for your partner. And and,
right,
Right.
and I'm with her. If I'm looking into something to do something longer or whatever, then it's to for the house. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Okay.
the ones that's using it to hit the streets, that's just their thought process. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
right, right, right,
Going on with
right,
them.
right.
There you go. Okay, so
Yeah.
that answers the question, because like I said, that's all you see on social media, with commercials and ads and stuff like that, So but yeah, DJ Shiny D, I'll allow you to come on back in and elaborate. I know you've been waiting to jump back in, so go ahead.
No, I really haven't. I've been enjoying the conversation for sure. I just think that you don't have to stay in any relationship. I mean, times are different. Back in the day when women had no money and they
Right.
couldn't,
Right.
pay for their way to escape, that was different. But
Right,
now there should be nothing holding you in a relationship that would cause you to go and cheat. My thing is, what is the point? And I got some ignorant ass guy friends that say some ignorant shit. And they say stuff like, well, don't drive me to go cheat. Don't, that kind of shit. Like, nigga, how can somebody can I influence you to jump off this bridge right now? Like, so it just don't make the decisions for somebody else. And
right,
you cheating makes a decision for somebody who didn't ask to be there,
right.
you know?
And DJ Shawty D, I'm not used to calling you because you're my
I
girl.
know, I
And
know.
so, but let's flip it. Those same men who talking that crap be the ones walking down the street talking to themselves because they mind them flip because they found out they wives been having sex outside of the relationship.
For
Because
sure.
a man cannot
Yes, sir.
handle another
Nope.
man dealing with his woman in an intimate way. They cannot handle it.
Cause
See,
y'all
No.
They
feel like
flip.
it's
and I agree
different.
with you.
Y'all
I
feel,
agree
and
with you
I answer this
100%
question.
on that. Go ahead, DJ
Ask this,
Shiny D. My
answer this
bad.
question. I'm sorry. Answer this question, guys. Do y'all think it is worse for a penis to enter a vagina or I mean just to enter a vagina, like period, or a vagina to sit on a penis? What is the difference?
To
Because
enter or sit on it?
y'all say
I
stuff like y'all say stuff like I can't imagine my man, no man going in my woman. But that's just how I feel when you go in another bitch. You know what I mean? So to me, I don't see the difference. It's green and blue make purple. Like
No,
is
I
what
agree
it
with
is.
both of you ladies saying, Dorinda made a great point. I agree with you too, DJ Shiny. I think at the end of the day, most men just can't take what they put out. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah, and that's really what it has to boil down to. I think when it comes to sex, you guys are a lot more tougher to, than men are with far as just when it comes to cheating. You know what I mean? Because most men and I said this in the beginning, most men were in that relationship if they found out, that their significant other was cheating on them. You know what I mean? So, and we've heard of, multiple times where men don't cheated on women and that woman has taken that man back. So I don't know. I can't explain what it is about men with that. I don't know if it's the whole
Ego.
nature thing, because the men even try to
Ego.
throw up how animals are in the wild. You know what I mean? How a lion can just go around and have multiple, prize, and and that one that female lion, she'll be with that one mate for the rest of her life.
Yeah,
Damon, do you know why most women that have been married to their husbands why they won't leave when a man cheats? I've spoken to older women who have been married for 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And the one thing they have said, I have built a life and worked hard
Right.
to build this life with this man. And I am not going to let another woman come in and
And
take
take
what
what
I
I
worked
got.
hard for.
Yeah, you know
It
what?
has nothing to do with they love y'all so much,
Right.
and
right.
it has. I promise you, it's all about the economic and how hard that woman, especially if she have turned that man around and she have worked to turn that man and help that man build. They're not trying to let no other woman come in and benefit from their hard work. I've
Right.
heard women say that.
And
So a
you know
lot of
what?
times women stay because ego, they have worked
Yeah.
hard, they vested time, effort, and a lot of heartache and pain. And they're
Yeah.
not willing to give that up just because
Let
you
me
can't.
Right. DJ
Now, do
Shiny
you
let me
D.
jump.
DJ Shiny D. I'm glad you wanted to have this conversation, because everybody is hitting on great points. That was another great point that you just made, Dorinda. Because a lot of people ask
Let me
that
say something,
question.
D.
Let me say this and then I'm gonna
Yeah, I
let you
got
say a lot of people ask that question, and never really knew, but you made a great point. Most women, why do most women give those men most of those, a second chance, I should say, and what you just said, just pretty much just turned on the light in my head. It's the years you don't put in, the hard work, and you definitely don't want to see another woman to come in and take what you don't put in, what all that hard work you don't put in to build that relationship and that marriage. You know what I mean? So
Hey,
a
y'all
lot of
used to
people
wear
don't
one
look
pair of
at it that way.
drawers. And she got
but
you
do you
wearing,
think
y'all used to wear one pair of drawers. She got you wearing 20.
Right,
No, we ain't
right,
gonna,
yeah.
we're not
You know,
doing it. It's not that easy. No, we're not
yeah,
doing it.
do
I
you
heard
right.
women say that, and I get it. I
yeah,
really
Right.
get
And
it.
I
I
get it.
get
do
it.
you think
Listen,
that women,
I get it.
modern
Go ahead,
women,
BJ3.
So I'm gonna add to what she's saying, almost a little devil advocate ish. So like, and it's I'm not justifying nothing and nobody's actions. We talking about the topic, so I'm talking about the topic. So with the cheating is for different reasons. We already established that. The
Mhm.
intimacy is looked at different. So I'm gonna say it seems like, because I'm not a female and I don't know, but understanding, you done built that, you done been around for 15, 20, 30 years, and you know that he was just busting one. He was just taking advantage of a situation that was given to him. He don't know that girl's name. He don't have no love for her. He don't feel nothing for that person. He just was getting one off, right? But
Right,
when your girl cheat, it's a longer process. It's a
Right,
it's a
right.
she didn't talk. He didn't said the stuff that you haven't been saying. He didn't done things to make her feel a certain type of way. So it's a longer thing, because by the time she didn't decided that she needs to go somewhere else to get something, the chances of the relationship being over is pretty high at that point, because she feel like she got to go do that. So for the ego, for us to take her back and all that, we know that for somebody else to be the sweet talk your girl to doing some stuff sexually, you lost her.
yeah,
You
it's
know what I'm
over
saying?
with.
And
Yeah,
it's not the same. And again, I'm playing devil advocate. I'm not making an excuse for nobody, but it's not the same with a guy, because you can hit a bar and talk to somebody, not you, but a guy. You go to the bar, and if he talking about something and she hear it and she say she can do this, she can do that, he can go into the back of the car and let her do some things to him, and go home and think nothing of it, and not think about her ever again. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's a mess up, but it's a selfish act. I like how she said that. He was just being selfish, not necessarily um um trying to get a need that wasn't getting met. He was just getting one. You know what I'm saying? So it's different. It's different. It's different.
And you said something, BJ3. I gotta remember the names. You said something. You're right. When a man, when a woman cheat, when a wife cheat on her husband, that man realized that meant something.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And and the reason why a lot of times I believe that you guys can't get over it because that woman becomes everything to y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all put y'all trust, y'all money,
Everything.
y'all everything
Everything.
into that woman, and y'all rely
Yeah.
on her every day to be
Yeah.
exactly who she say she is. And y'all trust it. Y'all go out to
Right.
work and y'all come home. And if somebody said, "Where your wife at?" Oh, I know where my
Right.
wife is.
Right.
So
Right.
you know deep down, if she go and lay with somebody, that meant something. And that's what you
Yep.
cannot get over.
Right.
And
See, and
Lord
you know
knows
what?
gonna find out you gave a that she gave head. Don't do
Yeah.
y'all would lose.
And
Y'all
I
be
think
about to
you
Oh.
kill.
and I think you
Oh.
kind of answered the
Oh.
question
Oh.
for a lot of people, BJ3. I agree with the Renda said for a man, for a woman to be able to give up herself to another man, and she's married, that's saying to that husband, like, look, this other man don't say some shit to my woman where she don't gave herself up to him to the point where, you felt like there's nothing you can say or do, to be able to I'm not gonna say control, but to that woman is gone. You know what I
Get her
mean?
back. Yeah.
Yeah,
To get
to
her
get
back
her back.
mentally.
What
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
so
said,
A
most
woman
Martin?
men
scorned.
would in that
You said,
relationship, versus that
Too
woman.
much.
Even though like what you
you
said,
said that, Martin.
Dorinda, most women would stay because of the time and the hard work that she don't put in, and she would not want another woman to come in to benefit her work and rewards that she's put in for years. But
And we
DJ
got
Shiny
thick
D, I'll allow
skin.
you to elaborate. I know you want to come in and say something.
Do you think that modern women expect for their man to cheat?
Mm.
I'm gonna say
The
today's
ones that's being
women.
raised by the internet.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna say today's woman, maybe yes. A woman
Yeah.
who's often to the word and to the Bible, and she knows who believe in God. She's not gonna allow nothing like that to affect her relationship or to even cross that line, I should say.
Mm.
All
The
right, man. I'm about to go back in the house.
Go ahead,
All
BJ3.
righty.
Well, BJ3,
It's been
before you go, let everybody know where they can reach you. Let everybody know what you got going on.
Man, check me on I guess you can hit me on Facebook, Burnell Jefferson III at NewYorkLife.com. I was at an event today, and basically, you grow up and you're like, if I had this, I could do this with it. Well, a lot of people don't know what to do with their money to make it grow, to make it tax free, to do things like that. I do. That's what I do.
Okay. And I want to
The
say this
money
okay.
work. I
before you
make the
go,
money work for me.
BJ3. I want to say this before you go. I had did a show the other day. I don't know if you ladies heard about this, but it was the four young women who was drinking and driving in the car, and they end up all of them dying. That one
Mm,
of these young ladies had life insurance. And that was one of the issues that I raised, and I think I brought
mm,
you up in that. So
mm.
let people know again where they can reach you. In case they're interested in trying to put some life insurance on themselves or their family members. Because every time we hear
Um,
a tragic story out here, it's always
That's
something
right.
about
yeah,
a GoFundMe to be able to bury
Right.
our loved ones. So, we got to get out of that mind state and out of that, that
that's terrible.
GoFundMe.
That's,
Amen.
hey,
Amen.
I'm gonna keep it simple. If somebody trying to get something set up, I do life insurance is a part of it, but I also do a full financial portfolio. I'm gonna give my number 773-398-5658. Call me if you got
you
Okay,
in
old
there we go.
Chicago?
401ks.
You in
You got
Chicago?
I moved. I'm in Cali, but I've been
Oh,
here 14 years. I've been here 14 years, and I had the same number
He's from
over 20
Chicago,
years.
though,
So
DJ
it's the
Shiny
same number.
D.
yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
I still got a
Okay.
312 number.
Right. So yeah, I do all of that. Old 401ks, Roths, all that. But yes, life insurance is extremely important because If you had to do a GoFundMe, if your family had to do a GoFundMe, they're already grieving, they're already distressed. Now they got to come up with how to bury you
That's right.
versus you setting things up in place to, God forbid something happened to you. Your wife don't have to sell a house. She don't have to downsize. She don't have to find another person to replace you. Life can go on. You can leave her with a couple years worth of your income. You can leave her with, uh, you know, enough to pay the house off, pay the cars off, leave enough to
Mhm.
make sure the kids still can go through college, even with you being gone. Like that's the power of life insurance. And our culture is the hardest to communicate that and get that to
Hmm.
because we think, oh, I don't want to leave nothing. Yeah, but you about to mess everything up if you
Yeah.
don't set something up. Like you
Right.
about to distress your whole everything that you're leaving behind. The people that you say you love, you about to mess everything. They got to move. They got to get new schools. They got to find
Yeah.
different cars. All this, all that because you didn't want to set nothing up. So
Right.
please, don't
Well,
be
that's
that.
going to
Don't
be
be
for
that person.
definitely. That's going to be for another show and another conversation. But yeah, BJ3, I want to thank you for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate you.
And you have a good day.
Thank you, ladies. Have a good one. D, I
All right.
appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye
All
bye.
right, my pleasure. Yeah, yeah.
It is getting late. I didn't realize it was this late.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
look, I don't know how long you ladies got. It's definitely been a needed conversation. Let's come up with a solution to this cheating. You know what I mean? So Dorinda, give young men and young women, some great advice on why not to cheat, why on some encourage them on why not to cheat, on what it is to, be a respectful young man and young woman to that person that you're with, and how
I,
to be dedicated, I should say.
if you're in a relationship, married, especially if you committed and you got a husband or you have a wife, I agree with what you say. You have to honor the vows of what God put before you.
Right,
Make marriage is sacred, and you got to look at too. Your body is sacred.
right,
Yeah.
Who you are as a human being is sacred, and you
right,
shouldn't. And when you exchange those type of intimacies, you exchange in spirits, and you have to be careful who you exchange spirits, and because it is sacred. So just know who you are, and I always say this and wholeheartedly: know who you are, and respect who you are, and honor the vows of what God put before you. Damon said it perfectly.
Yeah.
Marriage is sacred. If you single,
Mhm.
be single. But
For
when
sure.
you once you take those vows, honor, because it's not cute to see a married man or a married woman not cheating. To me, it's not, it's irresponsible because
right,
you can bring something home that you're not prepared to get rid of.
right.
So just honor your vows and honor yourself because it is sacred. Thank
There
you,
we go.
Damon, for having
Okay, okay. Well, DJ Shiny D, I'm gonna ask you that same question. Give those who's watching this, young women or young men, a solution to their cheating. What or what not to do.
I would think that just remembering that there could be serious consequences
me.
to your actions and think of that first before you make a decision because some of these girls is out here not like they claim to be and you
Right,
might think you're somebody that and it could be some real mental health issues there
Mm-hmm.
so you got to kind of think about the outcome
right,
and I would say this to guys because I do think that it could come off to guys like we kind of beat up on them a lot. I also don't think that if a woman forgives you, that you deserve for it to be brought up all the time and for her to hold that over your head. You also have a way out. If I've apologized and you have accepted me back, then you have to learn how to forgive me all the way around. We shouldn't have to relive what you've forgiven me for.
right.
Right.
So it's a give and a take.
Okay, there you go. And you said a key word at the end. And I'm gonna say this. Dorinda hit it on the nose in the beginning. It's all just a selfish act. When we go out and cheat. Like I said, when I originally started, I had a script. I had a few things written down, but you guys kind of changed that up with some of the key pointers that you were hitting. And it made a lot of sense. At the end of the day, we may we made a vow with our with God, first and foremost, and our significant other, so if we remember that, that will never allow us to go out and do the things that we have done, far as cheating, anything. Like I said, cheating comes in all different types of form. It's not just sexually, and I don't have to mention that, the other forms that come in, but at the end of the day, and Lasanda hit on this too. Don't get married, if you know that you are a cheater. If you know you're gonna be out here fucking around and sleeping around, why be in a relationship? Why get married? Just be single. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So with men, it's like we want to have our cake and eat it too, so at the end of the day, remember your vows, remember what you said to your wife and what you said to God in front of God. But like I said, you ladies made some great points. I think a lot of women's going to benefit from this conversation. A lot of men is going to benefit from this. So I'm going to give you ladies the last word on this. Dorinda, let everybody know what you got going on. Let everybody know where they can reach you.
Well, you can follow, we are an advocacy group for individuals living with disabilities. So if you're in the state of Georgia and you have a loved one with a disability, you can go to our website, www.elitesquadinc.org, and you can get more information about joining a social and advocacy group. And if you know someone who needs training with a disability, you can go on our website, DNA Skills with a Z for life.com. And you can message me and you can message me and my business partner, and we'll take care of you. Thank you. But Damon, thank you. And DJ Shotty D, thank you guys for having me. It was a great conversation. And I hope that whoever listening, it would benefit. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, DJ Shiny D, let everybody know where they can reach you and let them know what you got going on.
I'm still making this old shea butter doing my thing. So if you are ashy, please, that can be healed. Come on. It's gloss with one S, gloss shea butters at hotmail.com. You can email me, or gloss shea butters with one S, gloss with one S at yahoo.com.
Okay. Well, again, I want to thank both of you ladies for coming on the show. And like I said in the beginning, excuse me for stumbling and bumming over some of my words because, like I said, I had a little script, but you guys had so many key pointers and keywords, it kind of changed up everything that I was going to say. And I definitely want to have you back on the show, Dorinda. You made some great points, and we would love to have you back on the show. So I don't have anything else to add. If you ladies have something else to add, you can. If not, we can go ahead and close out.
Peace.
All right.
All right, well, it's your boy Dame D. It's been another one. We are out. Peace.
Peace.